Bernie here, who I thought was a boy, because Bernie is more of a boy's name, but she is a beautiful girl, and one of the things, she gets a little bit reactive when there are some other dogs around and that come and live here for part of their life. And so there have been some fights over possessions. And so what I want to do is show the guardians how they can use a targeting exercise to redirect the dog and get her to move away. Yes, I like that, Bernie. You're doing a good job. So the way we do is we're going to use this with a clicker. Now I have one of the guardians off camera and he has the clicker himself. Now first, when we do this, we want to prime the clicker is what it's called. So I've been doing this off camera. So what I did was I would hold the tree out. As soon as she touched it or took it with her mouth, I clicked. I wasn't asking her to do anything. All I want to do is build association with the sound of the click and the delivery of the treat. When you're priming the clicker, you want to do this at the same time. So the second it goes in the dog's mouth, click, and that's it. Now she kept on moving around. She's got some confidence issues, but we're going to help her get through this. So the first thing we want to do is prime it with maybe about 10 or 15 treats. You might have to do this a couple times before you start doing this exercise, so the dog associates the click means something good. Now when you click, I see some people clicking the clicker to get the dog's attention. Sorry, Bernie. Don't do that. The only time you click is when you want to indicate, so click right there. As soon as the dog does the thing that you want, you click, then you deliver the treat afterwards. The click is to communicate the precise time that you did exactly what I want, because sometimes we can't deliver the treat fast enough. So if in this case we want her to LAY, we click as soon as her chest hits the ground. In this case, what I want to do is I want to teach her to target my hand. Now the first stage we're going to do is I'm just going to move my hand kind of very suddenly in front of her, and as soon as she looks at it, the guardian's going to click. And then we're going to start, the next stage we'll start actually doing something where she's touching my hand. But you're doing very good. I like how you're getting nice and close and comfortable with me. All right, you ready, my click person? Mm-hmm. All right. Perfect. All right, so you want to do that enough, and again, she's a little spooked, so she saw her move away. Dogs want to give themselves escapability. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to do it this way, so we have better camera presence. Now when we're at this stage, what we're going to do is we're going to do the click when the dog touches my hand with her nose. After she touches my hand, then I'm going to deliver a treat. And we're clicking when she touches the nose to let her know that's what we want. Now don't just keep on going here. Now I'm going to go over here. Now you see she's a little bit moving away. She's a little bit skittish of people she doesn't know. This shouldn't be an issue for the guardians or for you at home. If you're doing this, your dog should be comfortable with you. If not, just keep on practicing with it until she's comfortable. Now for her, when we first clicked it, she would move away with the sound of the click. So that we might not have primed enough. So she's telling me there we go. Perfect. Now that one I had the treat in my hand. What we want to do is we want to deliver the empty hand. When she comes over and touches it, then we move over and drop the treat in our hand. Now when you're doing this, you want to do this with about 10 or 15 treats. A little thing for training, most people don't understand, they push training too far. You want to do training in like 1 to 2, maybe 3-minute sessions maximum. Once you pass 3 minutes, you're going to start getting some failures in for the dog. And then sometimes, especially when you have a puppy, their neurons get actually fatigued and stop firing. Just like if I'm curling, I can only curl so much. If I have a coach who's like, keep curling, I'm like, I've reached 50. I can't, my muscles won't do anymore. And that's kind of the same principle. A lot of people practice with their dog too long, then the dog suddenly stops responding. They think the dog is being obstinate. And they get upset with the dog. They think it's intentional. The dog just physically can't do it anymore. So when you're doing training, you should do it in 1 to 2 minute training sessions, 3 maximum, unless you're doing something that requires duration. And always end on a good note. So the dog has a fond remembrance of it. I like to end on a good note and then play tug of war with the dog, or play tossing the ball, or play another game so the dog has a good remembrance. The next time I want to do the exercise, they're very interested to do it. They're happy to do it. So this is how we can teach our dog to target. Well, before I sum up, eventually when the dogs are like, one of the things that she does when the other dogs have toys out, if one of the dogs grabs one of her toys, like let's say the dog's right there, dog will go like this. See how I wasn't even looking at her, but she recognized that. Dogs don't necessarily always stare directly at the culprits. They just stop, freeze, and they stare. So you see she moved away and was a little bit cautious. So the things we're looking for, usually it's always the first sign is a stare directly at the person or the object, or sometimes just off to the side and accompanied by a freezing. So if she does that, that's her first way of saying that she's uncomfortable. Now, she's talking to the other dogs, but if the other dogs don't recognize or respond to it, her next move might be to bare her teeth a little bit, showing the lips, or licking her lips, which is another way of showing her teeth. What she's saying is, see all this? This is all coming your way if you continue pushing me. It's not aggression. A lot of people, I see people punish their dog when it growls. A growl is the opposite of aggression. A growl is a warning. You're not making me, I'm uncomfortable. Somebody came up and tried to grab me in an inappropriate way, I would growl at them in a human way. If they continued, I would raise my voice until I got my point across. That's what's going on with her. I don't think this is really a resource guarding, although we'll have the other dogs. I might have a different opinion when I've seen them. But I think she just kind of is a little bit unsettled in what her place in the pack is. And then these other dogs come in. The other dogs, from what I understand, don't have a lot of structure in their lives. So that creates a little bit of crazy energy, and she's already a little insecure. And so I think she's on edge. And I think all these things are kind of cascading into some undesirable behaviors. So if she starts staring at one of the dogs as they get close to one of her bones, and we can be across the room and go like this, and she comes over and touches it with her nose, because she's been conditioned to do that, we can move her away from whatever the conflict was about to happen before it escalates and before it really gets so intense that she wants to react to it. That's why we're doing this targeting exercise. Now, when I have a dog that's actually a resource guard, if it's guarding bones, sometimes I'll actually teach it to go over and fetch the bone and then bring it over and teach it to drop it. And I do this with a low-level item that the dog is allowed to have. We have some red bones that the dog's not possessive of. So what I would do is, in your case, when one of those red bones is out, when she has one of those red bones, just go and touch the treat in front of her nose. She'll try to take the treat while she's got the bone in her mouth. Just hold it there. As soon as she drops it, pop the treat in her mouth and say drop, and give her the treat, and don't take the bone. So she's like, oh, so if I hear the word drop, I drop the bone, I get a high-value treat, and I get the bone again? It's a bonus. I get more than what I already have. Now we start on a low-value item like one of these things, one of these red bones, that none of the dogs are particularly possessive of. It's easy to have, and there's no particular desire to get it. Now if we have a marrow bone or an antler or something else that's really higher value, now I'm going to be more engaged to want to protect it. So that's another little technique that we can do, and we would want to do that when she's here alone and she's chewing something she's allowed to have. Go over, hold the treat in front of her nose, wait for her to drop it. As soon as she does drop it, put it in her mouth and say drop, or whatever your command word is, and then let her have the bone. So that's how to teach your dog to drop. But in this video, we're teaching how to teach your dog to target your hand on command and get a positive reinforcer for it.